This is your WLAK Daily News Roundup for Lake Air, 107.5 FM and 1260 AM in Amory.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Governor Evers is calling for a special meeting of the legislature's Joint Finance Committee next week to release $125 million to clean up PFAS pollution in Wisconsin. Evers' plan would let the Department of Natural Resources decide how to spend the money instead of a framework created by lawmakers the governor vetoed yesterday. Wisconsin hasn't had a Department of Natural Resources secretary since Adam Payne stepped down in October. Governor Evers tells the Journal Sentinel he wants to make sure he makes the right choice. Also in October, the state Senate fired more than half the Natural Resources Board, which sets the agency's policies. Silver alerts will now be issued when children go missing but don't qualify for any other kind of alert. The Prince Act is named after Prince McCree, who went missing in Milwaukee last fall and was found dead the next day. His family had asked for an Amber Alert, but his case didn't meet the criteria. Communities around Wisconsin have more than doubled their property tax revaluation since 2020. Forward Analytics says local governments want to make sure property owners aren't underpaying their share in taxes if the market value on their homes is soaring while their assessed value stays flat. Enbridge Energy's controversial Line 5 will likely come up when the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues meets in New York next week. The Bad River Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa says Line 5 is still a threat to their land.
The Bad River Band is already at a risk of an oil spill because the pipeline is going directly through their reservation, and the reroute, if you look at the map, it's basically hugging the reservation boundaries.
Stephanie Sosi is a lawyer for Earth Justice. Line 5 carries up to 23 million gallons of oil and natural gas every day. New worker safety regulations may have unintended consequences. The federal government now requires long-haul truckers to log their hours on wireless devices. But that could expose millions of trucks to hackers.
Those systems that never used to be connected to the internet or have any wireless connections, they are becoming more and more connected, and that can introduce vulnerabilities.
Jake Jepson is the co-author of a study that shows how hackers can manipulate trucks remotely. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly. A popular baseball and softball field in Duluth is due for some upgrades. The Duluth City Council has approved a $260,000 project to replace and upgrade the turf at Wade Stadium and is expected to approve a $900,000 project to replace the deteriorating roof. The stadium serves amateur baseball and softball players from youth ball to college ball, including the Duluth Huskies. The new turf should better protect players from injuries and prevent damage caused by the weather. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is reminding the public to be aware that black bears are beginning to emerge from hibernation. As the bears wake up from their winter naps, they'll be searching for food and new territory to occupy, which could draw them closer to the public than most residents would like. Northern Wisconsin residents especially should take preventive steps to keep bears away, like taking down bird feeders, reducing the smell from trash cans, and limiting how long their pets are left outside. The Duluth Workforce Development Office is hoping to get more people into medical office support roles with a new course. According to a Northern News Now report, a new medical office training course will be offered in partnership with Lake Superior College and Duluth Adult Education. The 16-week program would prepare students to work in the front office or in patient registration roles at medical facilities around the region and will feature both in-person and online classes. The program is set to begin on April 29th. Union workers in Duluth took exception to a St. Paul-based contracting company getting hired to renovate Green Mill. According to a Northern News Now report, members of the Duluth Building and Construction Trades Council gathered outside Green Mill on Tuesday to criticize the company's choice, saying hiring an outside company brings down labor standards and takes money out of the community. The owner of Green Mill responded, saying his decision was based on design plans, experience, and cost. The Duluth Public Arts Committee is promoting an interesting way to improve the aesthetic of the community. The organization is looking for art to display on utility boxes around the city, turning the lifeless steel structures into something residents will admire. The committee is seeking submissions for one available box, and the submissions must be sent in by April 30th. The application and more information about the contest can be found on the city's website, and the winning artist will be notified by May 24th. The Duluth Library Foundation will celebrate its annual Library Giving Day this week. According to a Northern News Now report, the 6th iteration of the event will be held on Thursday from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. alongside some community partners. The event will include a story time with a local author, live music and activities for children, a game of bingo with prizes, and food and a cash bar. Officials are hoping the event can raise upwards of $60,000, with the total up to $25,000 being matched by a local philanthropist. The Duluth Fire Department made a bit of history recently. According to a Northern News Now report, the department has hired the first ever K-9 in its history and the only K-9 working with a fire department in the state of Minnesota. The 2-year-old yellow lab named Jack is reportedly trained to sniff out ignitable liquids that can show fire investigators that a particular fire may be a case of arson. Jack has officially been on the job for a little over a week and has investigated 3 fire scenes with the Duluth department. A Duluth resident was taken to the hospital following an apartment fire downtown. According to the Duluth Fire Department, crews were dispatched to the downtown fire around 6:30 on Sunday night. They arrived to find the fire on the first floor of the West 3rd Street structure and called a second alarm just in case the high winds caused the fire to spread. Crews rescued the tenant who was still trying to get out and treated him on the scene before he was taken to Essentia Hospital due to injuries he sustained from the fire. And that's what you need to know. For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly.
The Brewers get a win in Cincinnati. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers battled to a 9-5 victory over the Reds. Another new face in the crew lineup, 23-year-old Blake Perkins, got the start in center field and drove in 3 runs. Brewers manager Pat Murphy.
This kid loves baseball. His personality is so calm and cool, collected, and he watches the game as good as anyone.
NBA, the Bucks with a much-needed win, 104-91 over the Boston Celtics. Giannis Antetokounmpo had to undergo an MRI after limping off the court in the third quarter with pain in his left calf muscle. As for the game, there was only 2 shots from the free throw line, a new NBA record. Doc Rivers.
Man, 1:57 game time. My goodness. You can go to a game and still have dinner.
NFL, the Packers tailgate tour continues its drive around the state.
Some of the nonprofits are doors about to close, and the Green Bay Packer Foundation helps them.
That's Packers Hall of Famer Leroy Butler. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. If you missed the 26th Annual Wisconsin Film Festival in Madison, take a short drive east this weekend and check out the impressive 16th Annual Milwaukee Film Festival, which kicks off April 11th and runs for 2 weeks until April 25th. Milwaukee Film offers an impressive list of international and domestic films. More information is available at mkefilm.org. As popular as Game of Thrones was, there's only been one spin-off, House of the Dragon, that's made it to the screen. For the time being, that will continue to be the case, as the Jon Snow spin-off has been shelved, according to Yahoo News. The show was pitched by Kit Harington, who portrayed Snow, but it's been reported that HBO has tabled it for the time being. Harington said they threw ideas around, but nothing really resonated, adding that he doesn't want to be part of a so-so product on screen. Apparently, Harington learned his lesson when he was in Pompeii, which received 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. Curb Your Enthusiasm's final episode was last Sunday. Susie Essman, who plays foul-mouthed Susie Green on the show, says fans are visibly upset when they approach her on the street, and she is kind and gracious to them, adding that she thinks fans want her to tell them to go bleep themselves and keep walking. Essman says that is not how she is at all in real life, and that's why it's called acting. I'm sure she is lovely in real life, but her character will be missed. Sylvester Stallone has been accused of creating a toxic environment on the set of Tulsa King. Stallone is the lead actor of the Taylor Sheridan executive-produced show, which is currently filming its 2nd season in Atlanta. Stallone was overheard saying to the director that the background actors were ugly and that he wanted to be surrounded by young, pretty girls. Is anyone surprised? Folks, if you take steroids for decades, it's bound to affect your ability to speak intelligently, especially if you are incapable of doing so beforehand. Jon Stewart poked fun at Fox News for tying Monday's eclipse to the immigration issue. Deadline.com reports that Fox News anchors warned their viewers about the dangers the eclipse posed to the border, saying that the cartels and smugglers would use the 4-minute temporary shade to enter the country. Stewart responded saying, or they could wait till nighttime. Stewart continued lampooning Fox by saying this year's cicada infestation could provide perfect cover for border crossers. Monday nights on Comedy Central sure are fun. Does anybody really pay attention to what a host wears during a major award show? Well, the Fashion Police do, and they were out in force following the Country Music Awards last weekend. People.com reports that singer Kelsey Ballerini changed her outfit 9 times while hosting the Country Music Awards. That is impressive, folks. Just reading this Hollywood update, I've only changed clothes once. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, every night between 7 and 9 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Partly cloudy and warmer today. We'll get to the upper 60s for a high this afternoon. The wind out of the southwest at 5 to 15. A few sprinkles tonight. Will drop to 43 for a low tomorrow. Mostly cloudy, becoming breezy with scattered showers, and a high tomorrow of only 58. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 45.
That's your WLAK Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lakeair.radio.